we given up on China, Gillian? What about that? I mean, you know, China obviously is the trader, trading with North Korea, enabling them to get the food and oil that they need, and they're critical in terms of helping to rein in North Korea, but they haven't done it.
They have absolutely not done it. They have not done it under Presidents Bush. They have not done it under Presidents Obama, and they are not doing it what we want. When I say it, they're not doing what the United States wants them to do under President Trump either. And I think President Trump has really come to realize that. He gave it his best shot. He came in guns blazing to the Oval Office and he said, I'm going to push China. I'm going to work with them. He had calls with the government, you know, on a weekly basis, virtually since January. And he's now seeing, you know what, they just have divergent national security interests to the United States when it comes to North Korea. They don't want a nuclear-armed North Korea, but their #1 priority is actually ensuring that the North Korean economy remains stable and that they have this interest in propping it up. It's a hard truth, and I think every president comes into office really wanting to see if they can change the calculus, and they can't.
They don't want tens of thousands of refugees at their doorstep.
No.
Or American troops on their border.
Or a unified North and South Korea.
That's right.
Well, and they also don't want additional U.S. sanctions on Chinese companies. And I think that that's one of the reasons they probably signed on to those sanctions that were handed down by the UN over the weekend. That they don't want more action, particularly in terms of trade. There's a lot we could do. It would be tough. It would be tough on our economy, but there's a lot more we could do in terms of cracking down on trade.
But I still think the diplomatic response is the right one, and the diplomatic response is through
What are we getting
China.
from the diplomatic response? It's a nice platitude, but we've diplomated our way to a nuclear bomb. Just like we're going to diplomat our way to an Iranian bomb. And then what do we do?
It may be a better alternative to the hard-edged alternative you're suggesting.
No, how about we do something decisive so that we don't live in a world where we're held hostage by crazy people.
But what could be done, Pete Hegseth? Are you talking about additional troops?
Let's say 1994, if President Clinton had actually taken action when we first thought about it, we wouldn't be dealing with this at all. The sooner you act, the less problems you have. You want to wait 20 years, it's only going to get worse. I'm not saying there's good options right now, but something decisive, definitive that decaps this regime, prevents it, is I'm telling you, roll the tape 20 years from now. This is only going to be worse.
Isn't that what the North Korean regime is concerned about?
Yes.
Possible decapitation.
That's why they're posturing.
You said posturing a few minutes ago, or a few seconds ago. You said they were going to take action.
Well, that's what they said.
Or are they taking action?
They said they're going to take action middle of the month. I mean, which was so aggressive to actually say we're going to do this by the middle of the month. Gillian, interesting to note that interview that Donald Trump did 20 years ago, he did say this in a measured tone, saying, look, do something now. But what should have been done then?
Well, Pete hit the nail on the head, that there aren't any good options. There weren't any good options in 1994, and there's no great options now. But the problem is also, not to, use all these pithy, anecdotes, but bad news never gets better with age. So sometimes diplomacy really works. You could make the argument in this case, Pete, that diplomacy has gotten us to this point where Iran is developing a nuclear weapon, North Korea's got a nuclear weapon, or on the flip side, you could say that diplomacy has delayed those processes. I'm not saying either one is the case. History will have to be the judge, but it's a toss-up, and there really aren't any, there's certainly no easy options for any administration, regardless of what your posture is, whether you want to do strategic patience, whether you want to do military intervention. There's no quick fix and there's no guarantee.
What military intervention would you recommend?
Well, why are we so afraid of conflict?
No.
I mean, I'm not saying pro-conflict, but at some point, diplomacy
as to what we're afraid of.
Targeted strikes as overwhelming as possible.
Targeted on what?
On their nuclear facilities and their nuclear capabilities and the regime. No one's at war with the North Korean people. Kim Jong-un has his own interests, and he's using nuclear weapons to wield it. So you be as targeted as you can. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be clean.
There's going to be significant collateral damage.
Well, there always is. It's called war. I don't want it. You don't want it. I don't seek
Pete,
collateral damage.
the other problem is, as you well know, the American people have zero appetite for.
Well, that's true.
Right. So how does if President Trump wanted to do that, if Secretary Mattis wanted to do that, I don't know how they would really galvanize support for it. That's a real problem too.
Gillian, great insights. We appreciate your time this morning. Thanks.
Thanks, Maria.
Gillian Turner joining us there.